Like, give us a little personal history so we know you.
Sure. We went on a date in her kitchen, and I proposed after 45 minutes of our first date. I knew about her because she was my roommate's sister. I was 19. I had just turned 19.
And she?
She had just turned 17.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's a weird story, but she had just come, she was in 12th grade. She had just begun 12th grade. So she didn't even get changed for our date. She was just in her, Jewish school uniform.
Welcome to the Jewish Matchmaker podcast on ILTV. I'm Aleeza Ben Shalom, and I am your host. And today I am honored to introduce a true pioneer in the digital community building space. Rabbi Benzion Klatzko, the founder of Shabbat.com, launched in 2010 his platform, which has grown to be the largest Jewish social network, spanning over 100,000 members, facilitating Shabbat hosting and meals, and even creating matches that have led to marriages. Today, we're going to dive deep into who he is, the vision behind everything that he is doing. And you must know he is into music and art. He has the largest museum of Jewish art. Rabbi Klatzko, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here and for being willing to share your story. You, to me, are, people are like, oh, they're a legend. You say to somebody like, oh, you know what, Rabbi Klatzko? They're like, of course I know of him. I'm like, no, I know him. I know him. We have come to you for Shabbat throughout the years and visited. Your home is an open, warm place where I don't know how you do it. You have over 100 guests on a weekly basis to multiple meals and people sleeping everywhere. My husband and I actually joked that everybody was everywhere, even a guy on the couch with the drapes as his blanket because there were so many people. People are so drawn to you and so attracted to you. What is it about you, your family, your community that you bring that is such a light? What music, art, what is it?
I want to be really cliche. First of all, knowing you is knowing a legend as well, and I name drop your name when I speak to my students. Like, and I know Aleeza Ben Shalom. They're like, really? Can you introduce us? So they get really excited. I think this is something you and I share, and you've been to my house and I've been to your house, even when you were back in Philly. And the word that I think is the catalyst for my work as well as yours is love. And I know, as a matchmaker, you want love to be a big part of it. But really, matchmaking is just an offshoot of the love that we have to people. And the larger our hearts are when it comes to other people, the less judgmental we'll be and the more we'll see the beauty in people. So the Torah on one foot is love your neighbor like you love yourself. And we really love ourselves. So open our eyes, just love everyone.
I think it's so true. There's a friend that I have, and he said, well, what could I do to be a little bit more warm? I said, you have to love everybody. And he said, but I don't. I'm very critical. I said, that's the problem. That's it. So I think you got directly to the root of it. I want to dig into something very different that you're recently involved with, which is bridge building between the Jewish and Christian coalition. What is this? What are you getting involved in, and what's starting to happening? I'm hearing a buzz.
So it started, I was doing a Havdalah in the Old City, and someone had mentioned to a well-known bishop, Bishop Spears, who was visiting the Kotel, that there's a rabbi doing a Havdalah, maybe you want to experience that. And he came up, and we had a lot of students, and it was a musical event, and he and his kids, who are actually halachically Jewish, their mother is Jewish, and he was just like really taken by the whole event, and he asked if I could be on his podcast. So it was the rabbi and the bishop. It was really cute. And then he said, let's do something, this is after October 7th, let's do something in Washington, D.C., where we could advocate for Israel and the Jewish people. Anti-Semitism was rising. So we went, I went there together with about 70 people, and I ended up being the representative rabbi going into Mark Rubio and other well-known figures within Congress and speaking on behalf of the Jewish people. And then that repeated itself this year, and this year it had grown from 70 to nearly 1,000. So it was really, really large. Wow. And we went all around Congress speaking and advocating. And then we decided, let's create this bridge between those who are monotheistic, who believe in the Creator, who believe in biblical morality, that kind of a concept. And let's make sure that we stay together during these very difficult times. So we do Shabbat events, and I'm able to guide those who are from different faiths in what we have in common and where our moral basis comes from, which is the Torah. So this is something that I've been able to do, and it's certainly growing, and there's a lot of desire on the part of the Christian clergy to learn a little bit more about Judaism. We had a fellow by the name of Frank Pesci who came to our home, and he's a very influential person, and he was so blown away by what a Shabbat actually is, because he had heard about Judaism, and he reads the Torah, and he's a supporter of Israel, but he never saw a religious Shabbat. And he was blown away, and he says, "Can I come back?" And he flew in from North Carolina, and he brought someone else. And now I'm doing my third Shabbat with him. And he actually wants to spend a little time at a Jewish yeshiva to learn more. Like, the whole thing is surreal how Jews and Christians are able to find common ground when it comes to the love of God and love of Israel.
It's really a beautiful match. This podcast is all about matchmaking and bringing the right people together, and to have faith-based people come together for a common purpose to serve and to do the greater good and God's will is absolutely tremendous. And what an outstanding match. I'm really looking forward to hearing more, but even more so, I'd like to be involved with whatever is happening. So please keep me in mind.
Absolutely.
In terms of massive changes and platforms and connections, you started Shabbat.com. Where did this dream come from, and how did it turn into this? It's like its own life force. How did that happen?
So once again, being in the right place at the right time in history really, really helps. My wife comes from a family that had a lot of guests for Shabbat. Many. They had a very long table. And I also came from the same kind of family. I grew up in Cleveland. Very, very large table, many guests from all walks of life. And because we both had that experience and we saw a need, we began inviting a lot of guests. So we, started at 30, 40, 50, 60. And I think our biggest Shabbat had about 220 people. We ended up having to rent a tent and put it in our backyard. And after having a lot of people, there was a week that we weren't able to host. We were going away, and a lot of people said, "But what are we going to do?" And I thought, wow, so many people would love to host. They just don't know that you're looking, and you don't know how to find them. So we created this Shabbat.com, and we're now in I think 234 countries.
Wow.
And we have facilitated over 2 million people finding place for Shabbat since 2010.
You are the largest Shabbat matchmaker in the world. You bring guests and hosts together and help them to find each other and just connect.
I love Shabbat. I don't know what I would do without Shabbat. It's my date with Hashem. I feel like I'm dating Hashem. As a matter of fact, the whole Shabbat is a date. Like I picture, like, here I am, I'm getting ready. So I take a shower, like you do on a date, shave, I set the table, nice clothes, white tablecloth. I light some candles. I pour some wine, buy some flowers. Like, goodness gracious. And then I sing the first song, Boi Chala, come my bride. Come my bride. The whole thing is built like a date. Shabbat Malka, she's my queen, my date, my lover. And so I love Shabbat. And it's just a great time to find a date on Shabbat. So the whole thing works out really well.
So speaking of finding a date on Shabbat, you now have dating as an option on Shabbat.com. So, and I know you didn't originally have that because I was on the site way back when. We've had some Shabbat.com guests that I'm still actually in touch with who visited us. And then I saw dating started to develop and I'm like, there's singles on here. What's going on? How did that come about?
So there were 2 points in having the dating. Number one, because on Shabbat, there is a mitzvah to find a date. L'shadech habanot, we say in the Shabbos Miros, in the Shabbos Mirot, when we sing, we say hirhurim mutarim. It is okay to have all sorts of wonderful thoughts. L'shadech habanot, and to make shidduchim on Shabbat. So we thought, wow, if there are going to be a lot of guests, well, they should get to know each other. What a great way to do it. Eating challah, you're in a good mood, chicken soup, you're making l'chaim. Like, things are very mellow. It's just a very mellow.
You're looking good. You're feeling good.
Yeah, you're looking great. It's just, it's a perfect time. So, and then, of course, it was another reason to come on to Shabbat.com because, hey, I'll find somebody to date, and once I'm there, maybe I'll find a guest to invite, or maybe I'll get invited. So one thing fed into the other.
So I actually know a couple who met on Shabbat.com. We heard the whole story. I was like, you have to come visit me. I want to meet her. I want to see the story. And they were so grateful and so happy. And, of course, now they have their own home, and now they're hosting people as well. So it's a cycle of giving. It's really
Two of my
incredible.
kids met their spouses on Shabbat.com. So I've got...
self-serving also.
I've got 4 grandchildren from Shabbat. So even if no one gained anything, I gained 4 beautiful grandchildren. So thank God.
Shifting into another realm, because you really do so many things. As an educator and a campus rabbi, you also run these Akiva trips to Israel for students and young adults. Can you tell us more about these programs, and what are you hoping that these young adults are going to walk away with?
So it's a really great question. My last trip happened during the war with Iran, the 12-day war.
Wow.
And we actually had somebody filming the entire trip because we wanted to do something with it. And we wanted to take somebody through the journey of a student coming to Israel. Little did we know that 3 days into the trip, the bombs would be falling. So now it's become a really interesting little show we're going to be putting out. But the real point of filming it was to show that if you take a student who may be disaffected and they're in Harvard or they're in Columbia or in University of Florida and they don't know much about their Judaism, but you bring them to the Holy Land and you introduce them to holiness, it's going to affect them in a way that no lecture will. And that's the experience of the Akiva trip. So I started the Akiva trip. I'm going to be doing my 83rd trip. So I've done many trips. And when I started, it was students who were disaffected. Now we have so many applicants who are interested that we try to find not just students who want to learn about Judaism, but we're looking for the next leaders. Ben Shapiro was one of my students early on. Josh Hammer was on my trip today. He's a big figure in the RNC, and many others who are today prominent members of the Jewish community got their start on this trip. So we figured I'll make it very inexpensive. It's not free, but it's $299, which is
practically free for a trip to Israel.
15 days.
And what ages?
And this is age 18 to 30.
Okay.
And even if you've been on Birthright, I'll take you.
And USA based only, Europe, where do you take people from?
Primarily, I would take from North America, but I have taken from other countries. If somebody is really awesome, I'll let them come on board. And I'm looking for 2 things. I'm looking for people with sterling character. We do character references because we really want we don't want to just throw a group of college students together because, the whole drinking and hooking up culture is not it's not a fertile ground for growth. But if you take somebody who has good character and they'll be respectful and they'll really come to the lectures and they'll ask good questions and they'll treat each other nicely, right. So then that they can learn a lot about Judaism because Judaism speaks to character. And then the second thing is we're looking for somebody who says, look, I grew up with a certain amount of Jewish knowledge, but I really want to upgrade. I want to know a little more history. I want to know a little more Hebrew. And I may want to find a Jewish wife or a Jewish husband.
That's what I was going to ask about next. So do you see our people meeting? And because it's such fertile ground for growth and for knowledge, and like you said, this isn't about temporary hookup culture or something that's just very vain. Do you see that the matches that are happening, like, do we have stories of successes? What can you share?
Every trip, every single trip. And the thing I could share most recently is that this past Thursday, my son got married to someone from the trip. They met on the trip. So again, I feel like everything I do for myself. That's the way Hashem makes it. And I think you were there. You were at the wedding.
Right. By the way, massive mazel tov to your son, Azariah and Jasmine, who had the most gorgeous wedding in Zichron Yaakov. Actually, I think the place is for rent. It is a massive grounds massive for Israel. I'm not talking about America. To be able to host a wedding, a simcha. You could literally do anything with places to sleep also. It was stunning. It was so, so beautiful. And you invited our whole family to come, which is a very rare thing. There's 7 of us. And my 2 children were home, and they were able to join us. And everybody said how inspiring it was, how beautiful it was. And our one son that does parkour and does flips, your son missed my son doing the flip. He goes, "You got to do it again." So he did it again. You have to bring joy to a bride and to a groom.
We're very fortunate. And the bride was on the trip. And she actually grew up Mormon. She grew up Mormon, and her mother was Jewish, her father was Mormon. And she learned about Judaism on the trip. And as she went to study in a Jewish madrasha, a seminary. And my son, who grew up more religious, my son said, she continues to grow. Her character is so sterling. Would you give me your blessing? And I said, "Oh, absolutely! What a gem! What a great match!" And the last night of Sheva Brachot, which explained, so it's like the 7 days of partying after the wedding, is today. Last night and today. Today's officially the last day of the celebration, and that was through the trip. But really, every single trip we've had at least one match.
Wow!
So, and on Shabbat.com we've had over 300 matches. So
that's phenomenal. Those are outstanding numbers, and I think that if you're between 18 and 30 and you want to get to Israel, you should check out Akiva Trips, because if it's good for matchmaking by me, the rest of it is good also. But if we can find your person and inspire you to live and love your Judaism, I don't think that there's anything better than that. I think that you've set up really a phenomenal way for people, young people, to be educated and connect. And thank you.
Can I give the website?
People. Yes, please.
Yeah, akivatrip.com. It's that easy, akivatrip.com. It is first come, first serve. And, come with a great attitude, come wanting to learn and grow, and with your antennas up.
Can you tell us personally, how long have you been married, and tell us about your family and a little music? Give us a little personal history so we know you.
Sure. Born in Cincinnati, grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. I met my wife. We went on a date in her kitchen, and I proposed after 45 minutes of our first date.
Who set this up? This was like an arranged type thing,
mom,
families? Her mom and?
Our mom and me. I knew about her because she was my roommate's sister. So I came and she said, "You're dating it?" I said, "Yeah, I'm ready to start." She said, "Well, you want to meet my daughter?"
Wait, how old were you?
I was 19. I had just turned 19.
And she?
She had just turned 17.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's a weird story, but she had just come, she was in 12th grade. She had just begun 12th grade. So she didn't even get changed for our date. She was just in her, Jewish school uniform, and there I was. I wasn't changed either, and we sat in the kitchen, and after 45 minutes, I just said, you want to do this? Because you're the one for me. And she said, yeah, I want to. And that was it. And I called my dad and I said, guess what? I'm engaged. And he said, guess what? No, you're not. And we got the little fight on the phone. But in the end, he met her and, loved her.
Okay, so you literally got engaged on your first date after 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And how soon after did you get married?
So then her rabbis wanted her to wait until she graduated 12th grade.
Right?
I don't know.
Makes a little bit of sense, maybe.
They wanted her to be 18.
Okay.
So I said 18, but not 18 in a day, 18. So we got married on her 18th birthday.
Wow.
So the moment we were able to, we got married, and that was 1988. So we're married now 37 years, and we have 11 children, thank God, 23 grandchildren.
Wow.
Bezrat Hashem, many more to come. And we thank God every day for all of our blessings.
Can you give us one piece of, or many pieces of marriage advice and wisdom? What have you learned over these 37 years? And what are some of the things that we need to be prepared for? We're married 22 years, thank God, coming up on our 23rd wedding anniversary. And I feel like we've learned a lot, but every stage is different, and especially almost approaching 40 years together and being together at such a young age, you must have so much to offer. Tell us a few key things that people need to know about marriage.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I made plenty of mistakes in the beginning, and you're going to as well. If you're just getting married, you're going to make mistakes, and so will he or she. And you got to be forgiving of those mistakes, because nothing can prepare you for marriage. There's no relationship that you have that is like marriage.
Yeah.
One of my children came to me and he said, I didn't know marriage was so hard. So after a few months of marriage, and I said, yeah, it is. And he's a great husband. She's a great wife. But he wanted the acknowledgement. It's hard. Every day, every hour, there can be misunderstandings and hurt feelings, and it's difficult to navigate. It's rewarding but difficult.
Right.
But I will tell you what I tell my children. I sit down with them when they're engaged. I take them out to eat, and I give them my fatherly wisdom. Oh. And one thing that I always tell them, it's this. I said, you're going to love this person, and they're going to love you. But love is not 24/7. We don't always feel in love, and it's unrealistic to believe you're always going to feel that way. It actually would be a little bit of a frantic lifestyle. It'd be overstimulating. I love you. I love you. Love is not 24/7. You're not always going to feel it. Sometimes you'll be upset. You'll be annoyed. You'll be angry. But do you know what is 24/7? Mercy. Mm-hmm. Mercy has to be 24/7. Mm-hmm. You can never let your guard down from having mercy on the person who trusted you with their emotions and their feelings. And you can't say things that are hurtful. And you can't throw back in their face something that they confided in you. Yeah. Love may not be 24/7, but mercy always has to be. Wow. So you can't lose that. So I tell my children.
Deep, deep wisdom. Is there any Torah wisdom about love or relationships that you particularly connect to, or it's one of those things you always say or you always talk about? Is there something that you can share and just elevate our souls?
There's so much. I love Hashem. I love Torah. I love mitzvot. It's my life. I'll tell you, if I have one chance to speak with somebody and advocate for Judaism, I tell them the following. Judaism is not a religion. Judaism is a relationship. It's built like a relationship. It's mentioned in the Torah as a relationship over 500 times. Over 500 times. It uses relationship terms with Judaism. It never uses religion. Never in the entire Torah. In all the books of the Torah, it's called a religion. One time by the enemy of the Jews that wanted us killed, his name was Haman, And he said, don't worry about killing the Jews. The Dasehem Shonos. They're just a different religion. But he was wrong. We are not. We're a relationship. We're built like a relationship, and we function like a relationship. And when we understand this, everything morphs, everything changes. I'll give you just a few points how it changes. For example, people often practice religion out of guilt. Do you want to be in a relationship out of guilt? Right. Do you want, I don't love you, but I pity you, or I feel guilty, so I'm going to be with you? It's a whole different dynamic. In religion, I see if it speaks to me. If it does, yeah. If not, not. If I can get away with what I can get away with, and I check the boxes, and I go to my services, and then I'm home, then I did my duty. In a relationship, I always want to go the extra mile. If my wife says, can you pick up pizza? I could pick up a slice of pizza for her. But if I love her, I'm going to say, what do you want with it? Do you want peppers on top? Do you want a milkshake? Do you want a sushi? And if I really love her, I'll know the answer to that question because I've done it before. Judaism as a relationship speaks to our heart. Judaism as a religion does not speak to us. And I think we've lost so many Jews throughout history and on college campuses, which is where I work, because people have had religion shoved down their throat, and we are not hardwired for religion. We're hardwired not to be told what to do, but actually from our very childhood, we're hardwired to cherish relationships. So that's my piece of wisdom. Not religion, relationship. Shema Yisrael ve'ahavta es Hashem Elokecha. We say it at least twice a day. I love you, Hashem, madly in love with the one above. Ahava.
Oh, I love that. I'm madly in love with the one above. I love rhymes, so that at the core of it, that really sticks with me. When you think about your legacy, what impact do you most hope to leave? Right after 120 years, you're moving on. What's that mark that you want to leave here?
Wow. The older you get, the more you think about it.
I know, I'm getting there.
You know, the hairline, well, God willing, you'll live for many years. The hairline goes and the wrinkles come. And you know, you really do think about these things. Like, what am I leaving? And the first thing is I want to leave a legacy of being an amazing husband, a great father, a great grandfather, a great friend. So I know that's not very global, but if I'm global, but my family doesn't feel like I was there for them, then I'm a failure. So that's number one. But if I think about, like, what do I want to give the Jewish people, what my legacy should be, it's that Judaism is accessible and wonderful and awesome, and it comes in different stripes and different colors and different shapes and different flavors. And as long as we understand that together with halacha means the way, or if you want to, in my terms, halacha is God's love language. It's like Hashem says, yes, love me, but Shabbat is how you love me, because that's my love language, right? Tefillin, that's the locket of love, like, tell me. But within halacha, there are so many flavors, and there's a way of actualizing yourself. So people say to me, what kind of a Jew are you? So I tell them, actually, I'm an Essa Jew. They say, what's an Essa Jew? Is that Reform? Is it Orthodox? I said, no, I made it up, but I'm going to spread it one day. So maybe through wine. What's Essa? So the word Essa means to lift up. Like Essa, Einai El Harim, lift up. And Essa is spelled Aleph, Sin, Aleph. Aleph, Sin, Aleph. So to me, Essa stands for Emet, truth. And I look at that's the Litvak in me, the Lithuanian in me, the yeshiva person. Truth. Simcha, that's the Chassid in me. I come from a Chassidic dynasty. So truth, happiness. The last Aleph is Ahava, love, Kalvach, right? So truth, happiness, and love. I'm an Essa Jew. Truth, happiness, love. You squish that together, and then no one cares. Am I wearing a suit, wearing a red tie, a blue tie, no collar? Doesn't make a difference. God is so big. He doesn't care about that stuff. He wants us to love him in the most infinite way, and he'll love us back in ways we can't imagine, in ways that we're gonna witness and see it and say, wow, Hashem, I don't know what I would do without you. I just can't express. We say, if my mouth were as wide as the ocean and my praise would come out like the waves that are uncountable, it would not be sufficient to explain the infinity of my love towards you.
Beautiful. How can people find you online? How can they reach out?
I'm going to give my phone number. I give my phone number to everyone. People say, you can't put your phone number online.
I'm in shock. I'm like, don't share my number. Don't share my number.
But what is a rabbi for? If no one can reach a rabbi,
share your number.
212 Shabbat.
Of course, that's your number.
212 Shabbat. You leave me WhatsApp is the way. Don't call me.
Okay.
You leave me a WhatsApp, and I really try to get back to people. And I like connecting. I like helping. I like projects. But if you just need somebody to be a good listener, I try to be that person also.
Spectacular. Rabbi Klatzko, this conversation was enlightening and inspiring and truly, truly hit my heart.
Thank you.
I feel very grateful that you took time away from your family to be with us on your short trip here and to share your wisdom and spread your light.
Thank you, Aleeza.
Thank you. And thank you to all of our listeners for joining us on the Jewish Matchmaking Podcast. I'm your host, Aleeza Ben Shalom from ILTV. And until next time, remember that matches make families, families make communities, and communities change the world.